Hi, everybody. I can't believe it is Thursday. Oh my gosh, I don't know where this week went, but it's definitely it's handed my ass to me. Oh my gosh. So yeah, so I was like up about probably more than half the night because I thought this would be a really great time to taper off of my sleep medication because I have a feeling it's going to be a lot harder to get than it already is because of what's going on with all of the shipping and the medications that are made overseas. So and I've needed to get off of it for a while. And I'm down to like 50 milligrams, which is really minuscule. So I thought, well, it won't be that bad. Fuck, it was that bad. It was that bad. I was up all night. Oh my god. Yeah, it was crazy. Then I had to get up at I was up at 4:18 in the morning and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I just it was just causing me all kinds of anxiety. So like I had to go outside and like smoke a bunch of weed, which I don't do often, but when I do keep it for when I have nights like that when I'm really anxious. And it was this crap I bought at the dispensary, and I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if it's like past the date or old or what, but it is absolutely worthless. I mean, you might as well get a dandelion and dry it out and smoke that. But so yeah, it's been a really it's been a fun week. Hopefully we'll get there. I'm gonna try to go back to maybe 25 milligrams tonight and do that for a couple of nights and then maybe taper from there. But the good news is I am like 3 days completely free of the kratom powder, which is amazing. Hasn't been too bad. I'm a little tired, a little kind of low energy and but none of the. I'm not having any of the really bad physical symptoms that a lot of people report. But anyway, that being said, that's me. I didn't even find out that David Wilcock had passed until like day before yesterday. So I'm a little late to this party. I know that there's a lot of other creators that have done deep dives on this. I'm not going to do that today because there's some really great content out there, and I'm not going to spend my time replicating it. I was curious, and I just had a I couldn't. I didn't get a bad feeling from this. I just felt like, oh my God, he's okay. He's okay. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to pull like a few cards, which is what I did. So I just asked, what happened to David? And oh, it's kind of interesting. It was funny last week, before this supposedly happened on Monday, I think it was. I kept seeing the name David everywhere, and like I walked into the store, and there's a whole wall of these, like, I don't know if they're energy drinks or if they're like protein. I think they're protein shakes or something. And the brand, it just says David on the bottle, and it was just a whole wall of them, and it caught my attention. I knew it was important. I thought it might have been like a message from one of my people in spirit because their middle name is David. But now I know that they were talking about David Wilcock, and that's why I was picking up on that energy. But to get right into it, so the first card we have is the Knight of Cups. It tells me he has, knights are about physical movement. So, if he had actually crossed over, I would expect to see maybe that card in reverse, or like a literal death card. Sometimes the death card actually means death. Sometimes those cards, at least they work that way for me. Sometimes they will have their meaning will be actually literal, and that's where it comes up to me, my discernment to determine that. But yeah, no, we have the Knight of Cups. That tells me also that he was in good emotional health, and so what happened to him really didn't make any sense to me. I actually saw that he was doing his live stream on Sunday. I clicked on for a few minutes, but I mean he goes for hours. Like, it was interesting. His last live cast was 3 hours and 33 minutes, so 333. But anyway, I just don't have time to sit and watch the entire thing. I as great as his stuff is, and as much as I enjoy it. I don't agree with everything he says, though. I will say that. But I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think he was onto a lot of stuff. I think he was super smart. And yeah, I think he was onto something about when he says, that he was the reincarnation of Edgar Casey. That really resonates with me. I think that is absolutely spot on. So, a lot of people really busted his chops for that. I get it though. That's why I don't talk a lot about my past. One of my past incarnations. It was kind of significant. I've only shared it with. Typically, I only share it with the people that were part of that incarnation or are really, really close to me. Um, because of that, it's not important. It's important to me, and it's important to the people that were a part of it. And so I don't feel the need to really share that. But anyway, yes, I do believe that was legit with him. Moving on, we have the Page of Cups. Gosh, yeah, that just tells me that um, wherever he is, he's really had that youthful energy restored. It's probably a huge relief. I personally believe he was extracted for his safety. I have seen other creators that are saying the same thing. um trying to connect with him in spirit. I get nothing, so I don't feel like he's crossed over. But yeah, I got that Page of Cups, and and it's also about good news, good emotional news. So yeah, good news. It seems like the good news is that he has been brought to safety. And then we have the Ten of Cups, which is really one of the best cards in the deck. Tells you that he is really doing great. Wherever he is, he's doing great. They talk about, a lot of the creators are talking about him going to Valhalla, for safety, or being moved off planet. And I don't know which of those are correct, but I do feel like wherever he is, he's safe. He's very relieved, and he's really doing great. So um, yeah, I don't feel like he crossed over. These cards could be interpreted in that way. I don't interpret them that way. That's just my intuition. My gut just tells me, yeah, he's totally fine. So you the other thing I want to talk about while we're talking about crossing over, I've really had I've really had a lot of time to really focus on the afterlife, and what that's all about. And especially since Mike crossed, okay, really gave me the opportunity to really look at how I feel and what I think about it. And the more I think about it, this is really important. Um, you know, this is going to sound really scary to some of you, and I don't mean to bring this information up to frighten anybody. But what I want you to know is that we talk about the Earth being, like a prison planet or a trap. Yes, yes, and I do believe, if you really want to understand this well, look at some of David Icke's material. You can find him on YouTube, and I think his longer recordings are either on, well, they're probably both on BitChute or Rumble. So you can probably find his longer recordings there, and they're just excellent. He really has a good handle, I think, on how this whole thing works. So everybody thinks that, okay, when you pass away, that you just go to you go wherever to another dimension, and you're fine and you're safe, and nothing bad can happen to you. And I don't believe that is the case. I believe that, people talk about seeing the tunnel of light, and then the next thing they know, they're being pulled into that tunnel or going in there, and they're met with either prominent religious figures from their culture, or people, loved ones that have passed away. I absolutely think that is a trap. Do not go into the light. And if you see those people and those figures, you need to know that um, those are holograms. Those are not real. They're holograms at best, and something else at worst, in my opinion. So what, and then you're going to be asked to go through a life review. I'm not going to do a life review. They can fuck all the way the fuck off. I'm not going into the light. I'm not going to do a life review. I'm not going to agree that I have more quote unquote lessons or karma to clear. Fuck that. I'm done. I am fucking done. you know um this is just crazy. I don't want to come back here. This has been a really fucking horrible incarnation. I won't lie. It's not been fun. 0 stars, don't recommend. So I'm done. That I don't care what anybody on the other side says. I am done. They can send me wherever the fuck they want. They can put me in spiritual reform school, and I 0 fucks given. Yeah, it's a trap. So I'm gonna. I've got this far. What happens after that, and what do? You refuse. You say, you just tell them, I do not consent to this. I am a sovereign being of the organic light, and from what I understand, they have to let you pass. And what happens then, I'm not really sure. Like I always say, I don't have all the answers. I'm getting some of them, and I think this is one of them. I've gone back and forth on this whole karma and the whole we're here to learn lessons and we're here to heal. Oh, fuck that. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I think I've learned all the lessons I want to. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop developing as a person and trying to gain more spiritual knowledge and trying to help other people. Doesn't mean that at all. I'm still going to do all that stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and take on all of this. Oh, I have to heal more, or I have to do this, or I have to, I have to clear this karma. I'm cleared, guys. I'm cleared, and you can be too. You can stop this at any time. You really can. I talk about the new cage movement, and all this love and light, and oh my god, the love and light people hate me. Oh, they hate me. Um, but it's another trap. It's the new cage. There you go. It's another trap. It's to get you to buy into those that those ideas that you have to do all of this stuff. And I'm not saying don't recover and try to heal your trauma, but when is enough enough? When you've gone to your 100th energy clearing, or your 200th, or you've drained your bank account to go to every fucking event that you can get yourself into, just stop. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You're still, if you're doing that, you're still looking outside of yourself for the answers. Everything you need to navigate this life, this illusion, because it is an illusion, is within you. Okay. What does it mean? What do I mean when I say it's an illusion? Well, it's just a hologram. It's a simulation, and I've been able to prove that to myself, and you can prove it to yourself too. By doing the exercises that I've mentioned in previous videos. So you can, once you prove to yourself that it's a simulation, it's like game over. It's game over, and then you're no fun anymore to the controllers. You're a problem, but you're no fun anymore. So which is kind of fun. I love being a disruptor personally. I've always been a rebel. I always had trouble with authority. That song by John Mellencamp, it's called the Authority song. Every time I hear that, I just laugh. I'm like, yep. So anyway, I'm not going to go too far into this right now. Those are my thoughts right now. Um, just I will expand more on the soul trap, and my thoughts on that as I learn more, and just gain more personal understanding. But I did want to get at least this basic idea out to you, so that you know that you have options and you don't fall prey to another trap, to another illusion. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. and I went a little longer than I intended. So just hope you're all doing great, and we'll chat soon. I'm going to try to catch a nap today. Hope you have a great, peaceful day.